direct support for the electoral process in Haiti from the United States, from other international organizations, and from other bilateral partners, among other lines of support for governance in Haiti. My colleague Marcia Wong will talk about our assistance to Haiti broadly, but I do want to note that in addition to the financial assistance that the United States has pledged for the multinational security support mission, which is $200 million from the Department of Defense and $100 million from the Department of State, we are also working with partners to raise funds for that effort. In parallel with that, the State Department's Bureau of International Narcotics and Law Enforcement Affairs provides about $200 million of support to the Haitian National Police over the last 18 months, which is focused on giving them the resources that they need to help fight gang violence in Haiti, particularly in metropolitan Port-au-Prince. The welfare of American citizens in Haiti, as well as their family members, often blended families, with not everyone being a U.S. citizen or permanent resident, continues. And to date, we've helped about 850 Haitian Americans or American residents in Haiti evacuate Haiti via helicopter flights out of country. Another 450 or so people have departed on their own and let our embassy know that they have found ways to depart country on their own. And we'll hope that we'll be able to expand these efforts to include those blended families that we have not been able to get out through the Dominican Republic to date. We're actively engaged on that, and to facilitate that, Secretary Blinken spoke with President Abinader of the Dominican Republic last week. The statement that came out of that is available on the State Department website. There are many other things that we could go into, but in the interest of time, I'll leave it there so that colleagues have time to make their interventions. Over.
Thank you, Assistant Secretary Nichols. And I just want to say that we are, apologies for some technical difficulties. We'd very much like to be on camera, but finding it difficult right now. So appreciate the limits of technology and your patience. So with that, we'd like to turn it over to our NSC Director for Haiti, Lauren Michaels, to give us an update from here.
Great. Thank you, Ariel. And thank you, everyone, so much for your time this morning. I am going to cover our current assistance as well as how we're responding to the current crisis at hand. I think there are a few issues globally that have that we have met on at senior levels at the White House as frequently as we do on Haiti, as it remains a top priority across the administration. The U.S. is the biggest donor to Haiti. Last year, we provided over $230 million in economic development, health, and security assistance to Haiti. We also remain the biggest donor of humanitarian assistance to Haiti, providing over $170 million since last October. But more immediately, to respond to the increase in violence that we've seen over the past month, we announced plans to provide urgently needed equipment to security forces in Haiti. And once that equipment package moves, we'll be able to provide up to $10 million of excess stocks from the Department of Homeland Security, including weapons, ammunition, and bulletproof vests for Haitian security forces. As Assistant Secretary Nichols mentioned, we are also urgently working with our international partners and Congress to expedite the deployment of the Kenyan-led multinational security support mission, which we plan to contribute a total of $300 million to. The goal of the Multinational Security Support Mission, or the MSS, is to assist Haitian law enforcement in maintaining security conditions necessary to conduct free and fair elections. But longer term, Haiti is one of our Global Fragility Act countries, and under the Global Fragility Act, the administration is implementing a whole of government plan to prevent conflict and promote stability in Haiti through our strategy to prevent conflict and promote stability. Specifically under the plan, we're working together with Haitian and international partners on long-term support to support a Haitian vision shared by the people and their government to advance responsible governance, lasting security, and equitable prosperity. The U.S. has also provided extensive support through health programming in Haiti, and since 2004, the U.S. has significantly invested in Haiti's HIV prevention, care, and treatment efforts through the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, or PEPFAR. The 2-year budget for PEPFAR for this year and last year is $225 million. And with that, knowing that we're getting time, I'll hand it back to you, Ariel.
Thank you, Lauren. So we are also joined, our final speaker for today, we're also joined by our USAID colleague, Marcia Wong. She's the Deputy Assistant Secretary to the Administrator for Humanitarian Assistance, and she's going to discuss the administration's much needed humanitarian assistance efforts to support the Haitian people.
Great. Thank you so much, Ariel, and my colleagues, Karen, Brian, and Lauren, for providing such a full backdrop to the challenging situation in Haiti. And I would very much like to thank all the colleagues who've joined us today online. Many, no doubt, have been engaged in Haiti for years, and you know all too well the country has faced challenges in the past, be it natural disaster or man-made. But this recent escalation of gang violence is really exacerbating already dire humanitarian conditions. And it's especially impacting two critical areas of response, if I can draw your attention to them: food security and protection of civilians. Most of the US government humanitarian assistance is focused on food. The surge in hostilities has closed markets, it's disrupted the supply chains, and worsened the deteriorating food security situation. Nearly 5 million people are projected to experience acute levels of food insecurity through June of 2024. That's right around the corner, and including 1.65 million facing what we describe as emergency levels of food insecurity. What does that mean? If you're in a household that faces emergency food insecurity, you will see families liquidating their assets to purchase food, which may be priced exorbitantly high given the supply and demand challenges. Most family members will begin missing at least one meal a day, and there are often going to be high rates of acute malnutrition, especially in children. A second area of focus: protection and the well-being of civilians. It is a critical area, as the gang violence causes increased casualties and displacement. We in the international community, and certainly USAID, my colleagues on this call, we remain deeply concerned about the prevalence and the heightened risk of gender-based violence, GBV, in Haiti, and the disproportionate impact of this crisis on women and girls. And we all strongly condemn the systematic use of sexual violence as a tactic of terror and control by the gangs. Much of our protection work, therefore, focuses on the communities and individuals suffering from such violence and insecurity. Our response in Haiti has had to be agile and flexible, working hard to move with the populations in need and on the move, and to bring relief where they are. As of March 21st, over 362,000 people in Haiti are displaced. Some of them are seeking shelter with host communities, which creates its own strain, as you can imagine, while others are forced to shelter in already overcrowded and under-supported displacement sites. The majority of internally displaced people, IDPs, have been displaced at least once. The government of Haiti's General Directorate of Civil Protection is leading coordination efforts for displaced persons, and they have established a number of displacement sites throughout Port-au-Prince, but they're not adequate. We need to do more. Those displaced already suffer from limited access to food, healthcare, water, hygiene facilities, and badly needed mental health and psychosocial support. The recent escalation of violence has further reduced this access. And as we know, IDPs are among the most vulnerable. Our partners have had to prioritize the provision of assistance to these displacement sites across all sectors. And how were we able to do this? We are so very fortunate to be working with committed humanitarian partners, including the local civil society organizations. Despite the violence and this escalation, the partners are present, they're active, and they're continuing to reach most people in need of humanitarian assistance. They tell us that they're able to maintain this high level of assistance across all funded sectors, although yes, there are increased challenges in reaching these beneficiaries in these locations due to insecurity. However, no partner has indicated plans to significantly reduce their operations, and in spite of this violence, the agencies are retaining essential staff in country. We are lucky that many of our partners have extensive experience in Haiti and in many other non-permissive environments around the world. Our programs are designed to be agile, We allow our partners to pivot to address new displacement and new needs as they arise and continue to follow high standards of operations. We provide direct support through 28 UN and local and international NGO partners, and through them, an additional 28 sub-awardees. Of those 56 organizations, nearly half of them are local Haitian NGOs. In addition, we support numerous other local organizations through the UN's Women, Peace, and Humanitarian Fund, managed by UNDP and UN Women. This builds capacity and supports several local protection organizations through Haiti. As mentioned by Lauren, the United States is the single largest donor of humanitarian assistance to Haiti. Since October 22, when my bureau sent in a response team to work on the cholera outbreak, we have provided nearly 171 million in life-saving assistance. Again, this includes that additional 58 million recently announced by Secretary of State Blinken and USAID Administrative Power. This new aid will provide additional food, nutrition support for infants and young children, essential health services, access to clean water, and again, prevention and response to gender violence. We have many examples we'd be happy to share with you, but we want to assure you the World Food Program is providing hot meals. And we've had gender-based violence prevention response services, medical referrals. That need is clearly evident. During the month of January alone, one NGO consortium reached nearly 1,200 survivors of armed attacks and gender-based violence in Cités alone, psychosocial support. We are worried about cholera because of the sanitation issues. We are providing cholera prevention and hygiene kits. However, even with the US support, the United Nations Haiti Humanitarian Needs and Response Plan, which totals $673 million, is less than 7% funded for 2024 and was less than 35% funded in 2023. The needs are growing and requires a robust response from donors and partners to meet this need. USAID and the Department of State colleagues and the White House, we call on other donors who are active in our advocacy to increase their support for this country in need. The supplemental international disaster assistance resources requested by President Biden would allow us to continue robustly supporting responses to crises around the world, including Haiti. As we look forward, I want to draw one thing to your attention. We will continue to provide targeted humanitarian assistance in conjunction with the security efforts mentioned by my State Department friends. But humanitarian assistance alone will not solve the crisis, nor provide the viable, hopeful future the Haitian people deserve. So we need those continued investments in job creation, education, a healthy, functioning private sector. Development donors focus on those building blocks, including my development colleagues at AID, but the enabling factor continues to be a secure and stable Haiti. I know many of you are involved in relief efforts already, including by raising awareness about this crisis, and I thank you for your efforts and commitment. I look forward to hearing your thoughts and questions also. Thank you all.
Thank you, Marcia. So we have a little bit of time now that we can go through some of the questions that you all submitted. I just wanted to say that we received hundreds of questions from everybody who registered for the call. We appreciate how much interest there is and how important these issues are to you. We won't have time to get through all of those questions, but we did pull out some, there were some common themes, and so we'll get through as many as we can, probably about 10 minutes that we can pose some of these questions to our panelists. The first one is, I think, for the State Department and maybe our NSC colleagues. So we've gotten a lot of questions about movement to and from Haiti, including what kind of support exists for American citizens and legal permanent residents inside Haiti. Is it safe to travel to Haiti? And what plans exist for the extension of temporary protected status for Haitians? Brian, if I could first turn it over to you, and then we can possibly cover some of those issues from the White House as well. Thanks.
Thank you. So there's a travel advisory for Haiti, which is category 4, which tells American citizens that they should not travel to Haiti, and those there should depart immediately if it's safe to do so. The State Department has been facilitating helicopter flights for American citizens in Haiti to fly them either to Cap Haitien, where they can take commercial flights out, or earlier on in the process had flown people to the Dominican Republic, where they could take charter or commercial flights out of Haiti. As I said in my opening remarks, about 850 people have departed through those flights, and another 450 or so American citizens had departed on their own. People who've been largely able to either make their way to Cap Haitien to take commercial aircraft out, or had crossed into the Dominican Republic. We expect to continue flight service, and hopefully in the coming days will include non-U.S. citizen Haitian blended family members so that they can depart via helicopter flights out. The Toussaint Louverture Airport in Port-au-Prince is still closed for operations, but Haitian authorities have been taking steps to secure the airport in recent days, and there are some hopes that it will be able to reopen to service in the coming days and weeks. But that's not a certainty. With regard to temporary protected status, the role of the State Department in temporary protected status is to provide a report on country conditions to the Department of Homeland Security about the country in question. The Department of Homeland Security can do one of three things. It can either extend the temporary protected status so that the people who are covered currently would still be covered. It can redesignate temporary protected status so that from the moment of the redesignation, people would be covered in addition to all those covered in previous designations, or it could end temporary protected status if in their view, the emergency that created temporary protected status no longer applies. So from the Department of State standpoint, I would just note that in our report on country conditions, I expect that it will reflect the even more difficult conditions that exist now versus the conditions that existed 1 year ago, which at that time were also quite acute. I will stop there in the interest of time.
Thank you, Brian. Did you?
Just to add on temporary protected status, that those designations, as Assistant Secretary Nichols alluded to, are decided after careful consideration and consultation with the interagency, and Haiti's current TPS designation does expire on August 3rd of this year. So a decision whether to terminate or to extend the designation must occur prior to June 4th. So those conversations are underway.
Thank you, Lauren. Okay, so our next question is, Marcia, going to be for you about humanitarian assistance and access. So we have this question from that was sent in by Barbara Nesson. What is the best way to ensure that humanitarian aid actually gets to people who need it most in Haiti? I understand that gangs are intercepting goods and supplies. Marcia, over to you.
Great, thank you. A very relevant question. I know many of us were horrified at seeing some of the looting that had taken place earlier this spring. And I want to assure everyone on this call, every listener, that the US government takes very, very seriously the interference in, diversion of humanitarian aid. And USAID definitely takes its duty as a steward of if you are a US taxpayer, your funding very seriously. And we hold all our partners to the highest standards to ensure that these funds are used wisely, effectively, and for their intended purpose. That means for our partners, they have to have robust safeguards and risk mitigation systems in place to ensure that that principled humanitarian aid will indeed reach those who need it most. We closely monitor partner activities to ensure that these activities are indeed reaching those beneficiaries, as we call the people in need, and meet standards and avoid fraud, waste, and abuse. We do recognize Haiti presents particular challenges in access and visibility, so we do work with a third-party monitoring mechanism to complement our own monitoring efforts. What that means is out in the field in these neighborhoods and communities, the projects are monitored during visits to observe, verify, report on the implementation and the quality of these activities as described. This adds that extra layer of independent verification to ensure that our funds and our HA is reaching those people in need, even in the areas that are hard to access due to security concerns. We also have other mechanisms like hotlines and other reporting ways that communities themselves can inform us if they feel that their aid is being interfered with, diverted, or being misused. We were all drawn to those horrific pictures and video of the containers and ports being looted. Last year, warehouses had been looted and walls had been breached. Our partners, again, as I had described, agile and working to ensure that they can bring as much as they can to these communities. So they are now taking many, many precautionary measures to reduce the risk of looting. This means halting all shipments to insecure ports, removing these containers from the Port-au-Prince port as soon as security allows. They're reducing the warehouse stockpiling to avoid large stocks in any warehouse at any time. BHA is ensuring our partners are reporting commodity loss through all required legal and oversight channels. Again, what we really need is that safety and security to ensure that every last dollar is spent as strategically and effectively as it can. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcia. So we have time for one more question, and it's one that many people expressed a lot of concern on. So many of you asked about what the US government is doing to stop the flow of illegal guns to Haiti. And I'll turn it over to Lauren from the NSC for that.
Great, thank you, Ariel. First, I do want to reiterate that we are doing our part to help stem the flow of firearms from the United States to Haiti, and I'm going to walk through what we're doing here at home and what we're doing within the region. So here in the US, law enforcement agencies are conducting outbound inspections, particularly out of Florida, but detecting the firearms is very challenging, especially as the traffickers continue to shift their tactics. The Department of Justice is also continuing investigating and prosecuting individuals for smuggling firearms. And just in February alone, 2 individuals were sentenced for smuggling firearms to Haiti. Also, last year, the Department of Justice named a coordinator for the Caribbean firearms prosecutions to elevate firearms trafficking and prosecutions within the Caribbean region, including Haiti, and to help implement the provisions of the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. Internationally, the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Justice are working with law enforcement partners in the region to trace firearms, investigate, and where appropriate, to bring prosecutions against individuals involved in firearms trafficking. But right now, given the current security crisis in Haiti, our Haitian security partners are really focused on civilian protection and securing key infrastructure, including the port and the Port-au-Prince airport. So we're limited in the ways that we can collaborate within Haiti. But once the security situation improves in Haiti, U.S. law enforcement plan on re-engaging with Haitian police. Just last month, the Department of Homeland Security and the Haitian National Police signed an MOU to create a unit to enhance the abilities of Haitian police and the United States to investigate and prosecute those who are involved in transnational criminal activities, including firearms trafficking. DOJ and the Haitian National Police also signed an MOU that will allow the HNP to trace these firearms, which will lead to a greater ability to identify, investigate, and prosecute firearms traffickers here in the US. In the meantime, US law enforcement are working out of other Caribbean countries and working with local partners to interdict weapon shipments entering into the Caribbean and often flowing to Haiti. We understand the concern, and we are doing everything we can, both here domestically as well as in the Caribbean and in Haiti, to stem the flow of trafficked firearms. So back to you, Ariel.
Thank you, Lauren. So that concludes our questions, and we're gonna wrap up from there. Just want to apologize again for our technical difficulties that have prevented us from being on camera. We very much wanted to show you our faces today, but we're hindered by technology. So hopefully the next time we convene this group, we'll be able to talk to you with our faces and our faces on the screen and on video. We really did receive so much interest and so many questions from you, and I really do, again, thank you for joining this discussion. And we know it's an interest, area of great interest and concern and really impacting particularly diaspora communities here in the United States. We are listening to your feedback, and that feedback is extremely important to us. So we hope that you will continue to remain engaged with us and in your communities to ensure that we're working together to support the people of Haiti. As I said, and as Karine said at the top, the Haitian diaspora community here is so important, and we believe that you are tremendous partners in our efforts to support the Haitian people. We hope to keep you updated of our progress and appreciate you joining us today. Please do stay in touch. Thank you.
Mic check, mic check, mic check. Greetings, brothers and sisters. So yeah, that was an interesting listen. We received some invitation. Let me make sure I can be heard. Can I be heard? Brothers and sisters, give me a signal if you can hear me clearly. I won't be staying long with you this evening. Do remember we've got our show this evening, looking at Senegal. But for now, brothers and sisters, I just wanted to check in because we received the information concerning that webinar that was being hosted by the US government, and figured it would be good to bring it to you as our community to hear what the US government is saying. And so just to give you an idea of what you just listened to, the White House brief for that webinar says, on behalf of the Biden-Harris administration, we invite you to join us to discuss the administration's response to the crisis in Haiti on Tuesday, April 9th at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. We will be joined by White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, who is a woman of Haiti descent, White House National Security Council Senior Director for Western Hemisphere Affairs, Dan Erikson, Assistant Secretary of State for Western Hemisphere Affairs, Brian Nichols, and Deputy Assistant to the Administration of USAID's Bureau of Humanitarian Assistance, Marcia, Wong. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we heard from all of those individuals just now. And so what stands out to me from that particular, breakdown and exchange is the extent to which forces on the ground in Haiti didn't seem to be much of a presence within the discourse in terms of what happens to and around and with Haiti. I need to revisit what Brian Nichols said, but because he was speaking on plans to basically restore the government, and he made mention of the fact that Kenya is involved in a leading role in an interim process towards the restoration of quote unquote democracy, as they say, and so that's an interesting point. In terms of the fact that the role of Kenya seems to have, if I heard him clearly, and I will clarify, we'll come back to this, but if I heard him clearly, the role of Kenya seems to have transitioned and evolved from one of providing, security forces as regards police to being able to steer an interim government procedure. Okay, that seems to be the case based upon what I heard him say. Again, we're going to come back to this, at some point. But I figured to close, because like I said, I'm not going to be here with you long this evening. Do remember we are back at 8 p.m. UK time, which is 3 p.m. EST for our live from Senegal segment. We're going to be going live to Senegal to speak to brothers and sisters on the ground in relation to the recent elections in Senegal. So you don't want to miss that, brothers and sisters. I guarantee you it's going to be a dynamic and informative show. And what has taken place in Senegal recently has been very historic. All right. So do come back at 3 p.m. EST, 8 p.m. UK time for our discussion with MC Mo and Sister Yolande Kamara. Yes, you don't want to miss that, brothers and sisters. All right. But one of the things that I thought it would be important to do, and we're gonna have to come back to this throughout our series on standing with Haiti, we stand with Ayiti. Yes, is this thing called the core group. Yeah, and what exactly the core group is, because what gives America the jurisdiction, quote unquote, yeah, the self-imposed jurisdiction, that is, to be a deciding factor within Haiti for the last 20 years, is this formation referred to as the core group. Okay, and so let me just bring up the Wikipedia for the core group so that we can just get into exactly what the core group is. And again, as we go through our We Stand with Ayiti series, we will be delving into more detail about these matters and who are the geopolitical forces that are deciding the destiny of the Haitian people. You know, I was about to say for better or for worse, and you know, for the last 100 years, it has definitely been for worse. But just to say, the core group was established by the United Nations Security Council resolution, and it gives the number of the resolution, in 2004. It is chaired by the UN Special Representative to Haiti, and also includes representatives from Brazil, Canada, France, Germany, Spain, the European Union, the United States, and the Organization of American States. All right, there's a lot of America in there. The group presents itself, and that is actually good wording. Yeah, I'm not sure who actually wrote this particular Wikipedia piece, but that particular word in there is actually good. The group presents itself as providing advice on how to resolve Haiti's socio-economic and political crises and improve democracy in the country. Its critics, including former Special Envoy to Haiti, Daniel Foote, have accused it of undemocratic meddling in Haiti's internal affairs, including supporting former President Jovenel Moise, which is the president of Haiti that was assassinated a couple years ago, brothers and sisters. Yeah, as his administration descended into despotism, they also backed Prime Minister designate Ariel Henry to become Prime Minister over interim Prime Minister Claude Joseph and Senate leader Joseph Lambert. Yeah, Foote has also accused the group of prioritizing the stability of the country over the Haitian popular will. Okay, and so that is what you call the core group on Haiti. Yeah, now you can see that there are no Haitian forces involved in this particular core group. There are no Haitian forces involved in that particular core group. Okay, that's what I want you to know at the moment. But much of this is led and run and governed by the United States of America, quite clearly. Okay, this is what is happening here. The United States, and this is taking place. This group was formed secretly in 2003 and implemented in 2004. So 20 years. And we have said in previous reasonings and discussions that Haiti has been effectively occupied by the US and the UN for 20 years. This is what we are referring to. Yes, this is what we are referring to, brothers and sisters. And so I want to make that very, very clear as regards what is going on in Haiti at the moment. I do want to, though, so most of us would know that what the European Union is. Yeah, you know, it's the Union of the European states. And I, who live in the United Kingdom of Great Britain, Great Britain removed itself from the European Union, although it made it clear when it did so that it was not removing itself from Europe, just the European Union. But fewer people may be aware of what the Organization of American States is. Yeah. And so let us just get into that very briefly. The Organization of American States is an international organization founded on the 30th of April 1948 to promote cooperation among its member states within the Americas. Headquartered in Washington, D.C., United States, the OAS is a multilateral regional body focused on human rights, electoral oversight, social and economic development, and security in the Western Hemisphere. According to the Council on Foreign Relations, which is a U.S. institution. As of November 2023, 32 states in the Americas are in the OAS. Okay, now hold on a second there. At the moment, I'm just highlighting the fact, yeah, that the running of Haiti at the moment is really, yeah, being overseen by the United States of America. Okay, the United States of America. There was something else that I wanted to get to in this, but I'm unable to locate it right now, so we're gonna have to get to that on another day. Okay, but basically this is another body, regional body, that is run by the United States of America, and we should also note the existence of an institution called Southcom. Yes, Southcom is the Southern Command. So like you have AFRICOM, we've spoken about AFRICOM many times on previous shows, which is the US High Command, military high command on the African continent. Well, Southcom is the US military high command throughout South and Central America and the Caribbean. Okay, and so the United States of America dominates the seas of the Americas, and its military is the strongest military force throughout the Americas. And this is why when things happen in many of the nation states, American troops and or troops with American training can be found at the center of many of the activities, brothers and sisters. Okay, and so I thought I would just bring that little brief webinar to you. Unfortunately, they were not able to show their faces, so we can put faces to the names in immediate terms, but we'll do so in future analysis. For now, however, let me just remind brothers and sisters that we have a number of shows coming up in relation to Haiti. Yes, and so we are going to be continuing our We Stand with Haiti series, and I'm going to make sure that you get the information right about now. Hold on, brothers and sisters. I'm trying to bring something up. But this coming Wednesday, Ojama Day, we have our brother Keperu coming through, also known as Brother Mario Goose, and he will be our guest on Wednesday, the 10th. That's tomorrow of April, for We Stand with Haiti. Yes, We Stand with Haiti. So do come true. Our brother has been an activist for many years standing, and was among those who led the relief effort and organized us in this country in 2010 when the earthquake hit, brothers and sisters. So many of us were organized by people like Brother Mario, Brother Keperu, during that time, and he's continues to represent the people of Haiti and keep us in tune and organize with us in relation to matters concerning Haiti. And so once again, come through tomorrow, tomorrow at 8 p.m. UK time, which is 3 p.m. EST. We'll be going into greater detail. I know that Brother Mario was also on the call of that webinar, and so we'll be discussing that with him. So you want to join us for that. We also will be speaking to Mama Ezili Danto, yes, who is a well-known Haiti activist, who was the one actually who put out the call for us to gather and drum yesterday on the 8th of April. And so we have Mama Ezili Danto coming through on the 28th of April. We'll be discussing all matters Haiti with her on that day. There are a number of other guests that we are going to be speaking to in relation to the current day politics of Haiti, as well as its historical context, because it's impossible to understand Haiti today unless you understand what has brought Haiti to this point. And so we're going to be getting deep into the political situation in Haiti, as well as the political history of Haiti, with many of our guests. And so do come forward, do come through. Want to big up everyone who joined us yesterday as we broadcast live our drumming session. There'll be more on that, more footage on that, clean up some audio and everything there. We'll be bringing that to you. And we also want to remind you of this evening we are going to be coming to you live from Senegal, brothers and sisters. Yes, indeed. We're going to be coming to you live from Senegal as we discuss all dynamics relating to the election of President Faye and Prime Minister Sonko over there in Haiti. Sorry, over there in Senegal, brothers and sisters. Yeah, so you don't want to miss that. We're going to be speaking to the people on the ground, those who have been active on the ground in Senegal for years, brothers and sisters. We are going to be speaking to them about the vibes and the feeling of the people on the ground. Okay, so please come through for that. I'm going to bring up the flyer for you all in a second, as we bring you the information tonight, 8 p.m. UK time, 3 p.m. EST. We are going to be joined by our sister Yolan's Kamara and the MC Mo Ndakaru. Sorry. Yes, Ndakaru, yeah. This evening, do come through. There is much happening in the African world, and so you want to be in tune with it. And we at gotkushTV are very much dedicated to connecting up the African world politically and economically, and ensuring that the right information gets through our independent media channels, brothers and sisters. And that's what we're trying to build. We are also very passionate as we understand that those who live on this side of the water, being relatively close to the African continent, that a significant amount of the African continent speaks French. And so it is important for us to connect up the English speaking and the French speaking African world, as it is important for us to connect up the African world in general, those of us who speak whatever language. But to count sand, you start from where you stand. And so we're going to be paying special attention to connecting the English speaking and the French speaking African world as we continue, brothers and sisters. So I'm going to conclude now. Feel free to watch back whatever you missed. We broadcast a webinar, a White House webinar on Haiti just a minute ago. And so you can check that out, and we'll be coming back to all themes raised in that webinar in future shows. And we'll see you back again tonight, live from Senegal, where we'll be speaking to our brothers and sisters in Senegal. And with that, I say to you, Tenda Mwade, be thankful unto the Mother, Father, creative life force of the universe. Kudzai, Muzimu Mokolo, we give praises unto our great ancestors. Abibi Tomi, Abibi Fahode, African power and African liberation for all African people. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe.